So the Springboks will be back in action for the November internationals, and their first challenge is up against the Japanese, a side that went close up against Australia just last weekend. And as always, we're going to try our best to predict what Rassie will be selecting for his Springboks lineup. As everyone knows, it's near impossible. There will always be changes, but it is myself and it is Vern from Vik&Wern Sports Chat. First of all, mate, I see you got the Springbok hoodie on. Excited for November?
Very excited. It's going to be 5 epic games up north. It's going to be great, man.
And it's a pretty nice schedule for the Springboks as well. You've got that first match up against the Japanese, then up against the French. That'll be a tough game, and of course that may impact Rassie's selections a little bit for this weekend. Also from there, Italy, then Ireland. That'll be a big game. I know that rivalry is always there between South Africa and the Irish, and then Wales to close out the November internationals. But we might as well get straight into it. We aren't going to have it right anyway because Rassie will throw about 57 curveballs at us. But who is the front row that you think he will be selecting?
It's tight. I had a lot of us maybe overthinking it a bit, but a lot of variables there. Who played this weekend in the URC or who played this weekend at all? Who's going to play for the French game as well? So I went with Venter, Malcolm Marx, and Wilco.
Okay, so going pretty solid up front. Venter, did he play for Edinburgh over the weekend, or was he
played half? Yeah.
I do think that Rassie, the ones who are playing in the north, have a lot more chance of being selected than those playing in the south. But then there's still enough time theoretically to get them onto a plane. Couple injuries throughout the weekend. Malcolm Marx, he your starting hooker throughout the big matches as well?
Yeah. I just took Malcolm Marx because he does play his rugby in Japan. He had a couple of weeks off. So I guess, look at it. My thinking is that Rassie would want to give them a run out. So before the big game against France. For me, the biggest game will be against Ireland because we have so many guys in the chat. The Irish are really touchy. So Malcolm Marx is the hooker for that game. He'll play against France as well. He'll rest Malcolm Marx for the game against Italy. But this time it is Malcolm Marx in the hooker. Wilco didn't play on the weekend, so he's in my team. And Venter is in there just to give Ox a rest.
Alrighty, so for myself, I've got 2 out of your 3 that you have selected. I've gone with Gerhard Stennekamp in that number 1 jersey, number 2 Malcolm Marx, and number 3 Wilco. I am keeping the Bulls props together, and there's also the situation at the moment. I feel like if we don't mention it, someone will. Jan-Hendrik Wessels. There would have been the plan for Rassie in terms of what he wanted to see from Jan-Hendrik Wessels throughout November. He was selected in the squad, and now that is a gap that they more than likely have to fill, they need another loose head prop. They know they've got Oxenshare. Venter, he hasn't had a lot of game time, so like you said, could be a great starting option there. But I do think having Stennekamp, Lowe, and Marx as that front row up against a Japanese scrum that can be quite difficult to deal with. We've seen top international sides struggle before. I think it would be a nice little combo for the Springboks in the match. But moving on to the locking duo. This is where I have gone number 4, Lutiaga, number 5, Franco Mostert. That could be the other way around, to be fair, but I do see them going with the guys who normally would play in Japan rather than going with the likes of an Eben Etzebeth. He would have to fly from South Africa to be able to then not just join up with the squad, but also take to the field. The match up against the Japanese, he certainly seems more likely to start up against the French in next week. But, I mean, Lutiaga, brilliant form at the moment. Franco Mostert hasn't had a lot of game time as of late, but still, any time he does make an impact. So you're spoiled for choice in that locking duo.
Absolutely spoiled for choice. You still had RG Snyman still in there. I also went with Mostert and Diaga. Same reason as you, because the 2 Japanese boys haven't played much. Mostert is getting a bit on the older side, but I don't know if he makes the plane to the World Cup, but he's in my side for this weekend, yes.
Now that you've said RG Snyman, I did have him off the bench, but he did start at 4 earlier on this year, didn't he?
He did.
So,
but he also played half a game for Leinster this weekend. I think he came on the 46th minute or something like that. I think you come off the bench.
Okay. I was very close to making the switch of Snyman starting for Ludiacha,
Yeah.
number 5, because of course Mostert also that versatility, playing as a number 7. There's
Yeah.
another option there, but I will leave it the same just for now. What about your loose forward trio?
Loose forward trio, also here, Japanese boys. I went with Kwagga Smith, Peter Steph du Toit, and Jasper Visser.
Nice. Solid loose forward trio there. So no Kolisi because he is playing for the Sharks just recently. And
Yeah,
travel.
no Sharks in my team at all. Not just because they did play now in Durban. They have to fly up. Kulisi played a lot. Eben Etzebeth played a lot. They all played a lot. So they are all out of my team.
And the thing is, it's nothing personal in this scenario, is it? Because certain players actually did step up big time. Kolisi had a relatively solid game for the Sharks. Grant Williams was outstanding. And that number 9 jersey, you had that crash ball running of Andre Esterhazen and also some nice moments from Ethan Hooker under the high ball too. For myself, I have taken a little bit of a risk only because I don't know whether or not this man has an injury that he's dealing with at the moment, but I've gone number 6, Marco van Staden, number 7, Peter Steph du Toit, and number 8, Jasper Visser. So just that change in the 6th jersey for myself, mainly because I want to have Kwagga once again making his way off the bench up against a Japanese side that you would expect to get a little bit tired as this match wears on. We've got to remember the Boks love playing that physical type of rugby, so you're of course going to try and sap the gas tank early and then take it to them in the second half. But Visser, he's going to be a big player for them throughout November, mainly because the likes of an Evan Roos, he's been left out of the squad. They have got no Juan Augustus, actually had an injury late before the Ulster match, so I'm not sure what the extent is of that one, but hopefully going to be all right to play. So there is a gap there that does need filled for now, and I do think that Jasper Visser can easily fill that gap, just like he did throughout the Rugby Championship. Plus Peter Steph du Toit. I mean, it's Peter Steph du Toit. What else can you do when you got that man in the squad?
Yeah, and I must say Peter Steph is mustard. Of course, he's fantastic. I just thought that Kwagga Smith, I think he's the first name on Rassie's team sheet. When Rassie makes the team sheet, Kwagga Smith is always first name down, my opinion, because he's always on the bench. But I think he'll let him play this time. Just my thinking, but not Rassie's thinking, my thinking. Kwagga will be in. I've got Marco van Staden on the bench. I love Marco van Staden anyway. I would always put him in my team, but I think he'll go with Kwagga Smith because he's Japanese. Also, Japanese-based player.
What about, I'm just going to try and put a little bit of extra thought into your head. Do you think there's any chance that because Peter Steph will be such a crucial part of the Springbok side in those big matches that he is rested for this game and Kwagga plays 7?
I don't know about resting. They all had a rest now, all these Japanese players. So they've been resting for a while. So I don't know. It could be possible. It's Rassie. Anything's possible. I just want to see if I just take a look at the side again. Then Jason Dixon in the side. No, he's on
He is in the squad. So he could be your bench guy if you wanted to give Peter Steph a little bit of a spell.
He could be in there as well. I mean, it's still old Cameron Honeycomb that is missing.
Do you know who they need in that number 7 jersey? Vincent Tchuka. Vincent Tchuka.
I love that boy. I absolutely love him. I don't know why he's not there. That blows my mind. But I'm going to start a petition.
Well, to be fair, he scored over the weekend too, so he's probably got a few more people signing that petition for him. But we will move on to that 9 and 10 combination now. For myself, I'll be honest, I have no idea what's happening in the 9 and 10 combinations for Rassie, mainly because we didn't see Sasha play over the weekend. Mani Libok, now based out of the Japan competition as well. Andre Pollard did not play for the Bulls. I think his wife had a baby recently. I might be right in that. But well, you know, early fatherhood. You're a father. You'd miss a game of rugby to watch a birth, wouldn't you?
That's a messy
that's a long pause, mate.
It's just my wife might listen to this later on, and I might get myself into massive trouble. So you're right. Now you should stay at home. No problem.
So the question is whether or not he would be playing up against the Japanese or whether they'll give him another week. So for myself, I have gone mixed. And I've gone Morne Vandenberg as the starting number 9. Did not play for the Lions the most recent round of the URC. And number 10, Andre Pollard. Now, it's not a combination they've used a lot, but I do think at the moment there are quite a few people concerned that Pollard is falling further and further down the pecking order, which I don't think is the case. It's just the fact that at the moment, Sasha's playing well. Marnie's playing great too. So, Pollard, he's still going to be there. He's still going to the World Cup, but it's just that question of how do you use him? I don't see them starting Pollard up against the French. I see him more as a finisher in that game. So this may be one of the few games that Pollard actually gets the opportunity to start in. So I've decided him and Morne Vandenberg, veteran with the younger player, mix and match them for the Japanese match.
Okay, I've gone a bit different because I don't know. Morne was injured. I don't know how far he's there, but you wouldn't take him with if he wasn't fit. So he should be good to play. I've gone. Oh, am I going to change my mind now? Now I've gone with Kobus Reinach. He only played a little bit there for the Stormers on the weekend. He is up north already, so he'll be fit and ready. So I've gone with Kobus Reinach on the 9. Vic and I were discussing it yesterday as well. Our best number 9 we've got in our eyes.
Okay.
Grant Williams has been a bit up and down a bit lately, but Kobus Reinach will be in there. Rassie will put him in, we hope. And my number 10, I've gone with Manie Lebok.
Okay.
He's Japanese-based, so he hasn't played for a while. And I'm pretty exactly the same as you. Andre Pollard is the guy to come off the bench for the last 25 minutes when it gets squeaky bum time and we need the 3 points. He'll come on, the scrum will push it, we'll get the penalties, and Andre will knock him over, and that's how I see his role in the team. So I've gone with Manie Lebok and Kobus Reinach.
And that is a combination we've seen off the bench already for South Africa throughout this year. I have to ask the question, do you think this is one of those games up against the Japanese that they will need those late 3-pointers? Or do you think already by that, no, you're thinking safe win?
Not safely, it always sounds a bit arrogant, but we saw with Japan against Australia, it was tight. And South Africa's always like that. If they never play to their full potential, if the team is a bit weaker, they'll play a bit weaker. They always go up a gear when they play against the next opponent. So I think it's not going to be a big game. It's not going to be a massive score game. I think it's going to be maybe about 14. So no. Andre Pollard is on my bench, but they won't need him for this game, no.
So now we will move on to the midfield combination. This is where they have got plenty of great options for this season. They've been trying out new combos. One in particular that seems to be working quite nicely is Moody in that number 13 jersey. At the moment for the Boks, they've got that barnstorming run ability of Andre Esterhuizen, the veterans in Kriel and Damien Dearlinde too. So for yourself, what is the combo up against the Japanese?
I went old school. I went because they're both based in Japan. Again, that's the main thinking I have. Damien Dearlinde and Jesse Kriel. Jesse Kriel will be the captain as well. I think Moody, he didn't play on the weekend for the Bulls. I think he'll rest them for the French because he'll definitely be in the French game. Moody, and also of course Andre Esterhuizen, Ethan Hooker have to come up from SA, so they will be tired. So that's why I went with Damien Dearlinde and Jesse Kriel. And
I've gone with that exact same duo. Like you mentioned, it's kind of in a way, it's the throwback combination, even though a lot of people would still say it is that best midfield combination that any side can put out there on the field in the centres. Like they are still both, I would argue, in their prime. Kriel, he's a little bit later on in his career, but he's still playing some of his absolutely best rugby. So having that midfield combo, they will more than likely be going up against, I'd say Dylan Riley will be in that 13 jersey. I think Kriel will be able to shut him down quite nicely. Same reason as yourself. I've got him as the captain here as well. I almost wanted to go with Dearlinde and Canan Moody as my midfield combination, seeing as Moody didn't play on the weekend, but it meant that I didn't actually have a captain in the starting lineup. And I feel like Rassie, well, to be fair, if anyone's going to name a random captain for a game, it would be Rassie Erasmus, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be, yeah. But who would you pick? Just say, I said, Thea's not playing, Aben's not playing, and Jesse's not playing. Who would you take for captain then?
I don't know if Peter Steph du Toit would want that responsibility, but he would definitely be a good one. And there, or maybe a Malcolm Marks could honestly be that other option.
I was thinking of Peter Steph and Malcolm. I would have gone with Malcolm Marks, yeah.
And those two guys, like the thing is, no matter what the squad looks like, even if there are guys with inexperience there, there's still that foundation. No matter what you do, whether you're changing 13 players or not, you still got some experience there and at least one of those veteran players who have at least one World Cup under their belt. So they're in good hands in terms of that side. But speaking of hands, the back three, Got a few very quick players could be available in this regard. We saw the recent return of Kutli Arunsa coming back for the Bulls just a few moments off the bench later on in that game. So for myself, I have gone with Kutli Arunsa out on the left wing side. I do think that seeing as he made his way off the bench for the Bulls, and the Bulls did play up north, makes sense that he would get some game time here. Test whereabouts he's at. They haven't got Makazole Mapimpi now as a left wing option, as that man did get himself suspended. I wonder whether or not he would have got in the squad, or at least I think he was one of the replacement players available for them. But now, of course, that will not happen. Number 14, I've gone with Cheslin Colby. This one could be an interesting one because Cheslin Colby, you could also argue, has the ability to play more than just the 14 jersey. And that brings us to the 15. There has been the news. Now, of course, we are filming this so early on in the week, and the updates will keep on flying throughout the week as it progresses. But at this current point in time, Damian Willemse has a bit of a hamstring injury. So that would make me think the chances of him playing in this match is relatively slim. And because of that, you need a fullback. Perhaps Cheslin Colby could go into that 15 jersey if needed. Up against the Japanese, they haven't got Apalele Fasi due to his injury. But in this case, I've actually gone a little bit curveball-y here. And I actually think that there is more chance that they may go with another Stormers option in that 15 jersey. But I've put my first shark in. And I've gone with Edwald van der Merwe. That's the Rassie curveball for this lineup. He's been playing 15 for the URC. He can also play out on the wing. He's solid under the high ball. And I feel like with the fact that Fasi's out and that Willie LaRue is getting closer to the end of his Springboks tenure, you know, someone like an Edwald van der Merwe could actually, I don't know, he could be a decent option in that 15 jersey. The other option I would say is getting someone like a Kjuan Horn into the squad, but I don't think they've done that yet. But for yourself, what have you done?
Oh, I love that part there. Such a pity because Willie LaRue has played the last 2 games for the Bulls. He's played really well. But it's time to cut it there. That's all. He's getting his second spring there. Now, I've gone with Kutli Arunsa as well. The same reason you said he only played a little bit there for the Bulls. On his way back, get him in that Springbok shirt, get him ready for France. 14, I've also gone with Cheslin Colby, just because he's Japanese-based as well and needs a bit of a run-out. And at 15, I've gone with Sasha. Sasha FM there on the 15. He's played it before, but the Stormers didn't play on the weekend, so he's top fit. So Sasha will play fullback. Risky one.
The thing is, it's risky, but I think you might be onto something because if Edwald van der Merwe has to go all the way up north, it's no different to the likes of a Kolisi or an Etzebeth or an Ethan Hooker. Perhaps we could even chuck him out on the wing in that case if they were going to be using those guys as options. So, yeah, I think that Sasha, with the fact that they have got Pollard, Lebok, and Sasha all theoretically available and not playing last weekend, makes you think maybe there are plans. But then saying that, Willemse, we only learn about his injury today. So that means that at the time when Rassie was deciding on that, he wasn't injured. So then it's once again the curveballs. He is in our head as the song goes, but we'll see whether or not we can at least get close to the back 3 being right.
It's just the information that you gave me today that Willemse was injured, and the fact that Damon Willemse did play most of the game yesterday. That's why I went with Sasha, because he didn't play. And then you told me Willemse was injured, and I said, like, tick, 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 Sasha. That's all I can think of.
It's a good choice. And, of course, that attacking prowess alongside, you got Marnie Libok at 10, don't you? So you kind of got that dangerous duo that we have seen in the past for the Stormers as well. And a lot of pace there.
A lot of pace, a lot of creativity, and some old heads there with Jesse and Damon Delender in there as well. So I think it would be a great balance,
But that now brings us to the balance of the bench in this scenario. Have you got the 5-3 or the 6-2 for this match?
I've gone with the 5-3.
Alrighty, I have done the same. So your front row, who have you got there?
I've got Johan Grobbelaar, Gerard Steenkamp, and Zachary Porthen.
Okay, so the debut for the youngster?
Yeah. I don't see why reason taking him with and not playing him. So take him with, let him have a nice run out against Japan, and not a nice, easy game, but one of the easier games to get into it, show him the ropes, give him a little half an hour, 35 minutes of rugby in the Springbok jersey, and then slowly but surely bringing him into the fold.
So for myself, I've got that one change yet again, a little bit similar to what we have for the front row. I've got Johan Robela as the number 16. Number 17, this is where I've got Boan Venter. So we've got the same loose hits, just in a different order for me and yourself. And then also number 18, I have got Zachary Porthing. Give him the chance. See what he can do. At the end of the day, Rassie has obviously seen something in him because of the fact that he has selected him ahead of someone like a Nedling for Share. I feel like it was the big curveball of the whole lineup, the fact that this was the choice that we saw from Rassie, going with a younger guy, but once again, building that depth, heading forward in the World Cups. Once again, that Jan-Hendrik Wessel's role, I feel like this is where we were going to see him. Even if, let's say theoretically, Rassie, he has only got the technically 2 hookers. Of course, Marco van Staden can theoretically play as a hooker, but I do actually think had Jan-Hendrik Wessels been available, he could have been the 16 here in this match rather than Johan Robela. We've seen it before that he doesn't go with the specialist hooker. But once again, I do think that's where Manus van der Merwe, perfect man to fill the role. He's actually going very well. Played for the Scarlets up against a stacked Springbok Shark side and held his own.
Yeah.
Be a great option.
Played very well. Played absolutely very well on the weekend as well. Again, for the Scarlets. Sometimes weird decisions. But hey, it's Rassie, so we can't complain. We don't allow to complain.
So now moving on to the rest of the forwards. I've got Arge Snyman as my number 19 and Kwaka Smith as the number 20. Just a very good duo, isn't it? Anytime you say those two right next to each other, it's just going to be good fireworks.
Absolutely amazing those two that come off bench. I had Kwaka in the team, so I went with Arge and Marco van Staden, so we're about similar there as well.
So now your back replacements. You've got 3 men remaining. Who are the guys who are going to come off the bench, make all the impact up against this Japanese side?
Morten Futterback, Andre Pollard, and Cannon Moody.
So I have got 2 changes in this department. I've gone with Kobus Reinach off of the bench. He did play that role for the Stormers over the weekend, and I actually do think he'll get that role a little bit for the Springboks throughout November. Way that Grant Williams played, it's hard to deny him some starting minutes. I would say that it is going to be chopping and changing, though, between him and Reinach. And also, let's not beat around the bush. Morne van den Berg, when he has had opportunities for the Boks, he as well has been very solid. Some of these young guys who have stepped up, once again, one player comes to mind, Vincent Tachuka, in terms of what he was able to do when finally given that opportunity. But I think they're just spoiled for choice, and it's almost the case of there are too many good options rather than a lack of in a lot of these positions.
There are so many good players. Okay, I'm a bit biased in that one, but I think the Springboks have so many good players in so many positions. So it's hard to choose, and it's actually unfair. It's not nice to leave one of them out. I mean, Aldrich Lowe is injured. Cameron Honeycomb's injured. Not in the team. Marcel Coetzee, not in the team. Evan Roos, not in the team. There are so many good players that are not in the Springbok, not even in the mention in the Springboks. Yeah. But like I say, I could be me just being a bit biased, South African biased, but I think the Springboks got absolutely spoiled for choice.
And speaking of spoiled, number 22, wait, that sounded like I'm saying he's spoiled. I meant more so spoiled for choice. Number 22, Sasha Feinberg Ngumezulu as my 22 option. He has been a very, very strong option in the starting side for the Springboks, coming off the bench alongside Reinach. I think could add quite a bit of late impact into this contest, and then also partnering him with, same as yourself, Cannon Moody as that number 23, and that versatility, I think, is something massive there with my 2 back replacements, or I guess you could say 3 with Reinach, who can theoretically play on the wing as well. But Sasha, he's got 10 covered, he's got 15. Moody's got the midfield combo as well as the wings. So I think it's something Rassie might consider, but by that I mean he's probably going to go with completely different.
Totally different. But it'll be interesting. I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to keep these things up here, and I'll see how we did. Hopefully it comes out on Tuesday. It would be fantastic. I love the early reveals. It's always so nice. It's got something to talk about in the week instead of leaving it till Thursday or Friday, which is horrible because the game's the next day or 2 days. I love that from Rassie. I absolutely love it.
And it shows that confidence as well, doesn't it, of saying, we're going to tell you our team right from the get-go and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Exactly. This is the team. You can adapt to us. We're going to play our game, and everything else is just wait for the train to hit you. It's nice being a Springbok support at the moment. It is really nice being a Springbok support at the moment. They've got 5 games. I think, personally, they win 4 and they lose 1.
Well, now we have to ask the question, don't we? We have to stir the pot. Which loss is it? Is it to the French or the Irish?
I'd rather lose to the French than to the Irish. That's 100%. Although I've got a lot of French guys at work who give me a lot of stick. Also, I just hold up one little finger here all the time when they give me the stick. But no, I'd rather lose to the French than to the Irish. But I think we could lose 2. I mean, we could lose 2. Maximum, we'll lose 2. We won't lose 3. We'll beat Italy, we'll beat Wales, and we'll beat Japan. I think that is pretty definite, I hope. But France and Ireland games, those are going to be the tough ones. And it's a pity we don't have England this time as well, but it's just the way it is.
Perhaps the World Cup 2027 could be the next time that they face up against the English, although I think they'll get a little bit of a prelim of that before that World Cup as well. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. Of course, when Rassie does announce his side, I will be doing the video on the channel and you know exactly who has been selected. But do let us know who you think Rassie will be picking for this game. We could be completely wrong because for all we know, he could have a side stacked with Sharks and Lions. Well, not really Lions, but Sharks players in that regard of guys who did play in South Africa, heading up north, getting ready to go for this first match. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out Vik&Wern's channel as well, recently surpassing the 100,000 subscribers. So a massive congratulations to those 2 men. And one of them, of course, is sitting right next to me, and he will be very excited all throughout November, although I have also heard the rumour that you are the more nervous during Springbok games as well.
I am a wreck, an absolute... The worst one is always England. That is the game. I lose it. It's the game I can't lose. Everything else I can accept. Maybe the Irish there as well, but the English is just a game I can't lose. It's just not possible.
Well, luckily, not happening in November, so stress-free throughout the November internationals. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, surely leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all for the next one.